what brought you guys together? You just met and you realized just how much you had in common and it just clicked?
Funny story. We were on a very random shoot in a very random place called Milton Keynes. This random town in the middle of nowhere, but outside of that town in a random field in the middle of nowhere. So it was a bit miserable weather-wise, setting-wise. And then I was the script supervisor, she was the actress. So we obviously connected since I had to sort of give her content notes and stuff like that. And then we bonded over our music tastes, in general, our ideologies and views. And then we exchanged Instagrams, and then she was posting her music, and I texted her and I was like, oh my God, we need to collab one day. We definitely need to collab one day. And then around a month later, she texted me, hey, do you want to direct my music video? And I was like, hell yes, I've been waiting for this a month ago.
That is that, and the rest is history.
That's his history. Is there any friction? You guys always thinking the same thing? Or you guys always have the same vision?
I was gonna say, because essentially Dopamine is part of a larger album, and so therefore the album kind of had with it its own story. Dopamine itself as a music video, as a concept, had existed for a while before I was like, I need to pull the trigger and just make this with someone. And who do I know that makes stuff that I respect? And Anna was a person that I knew that made stuff, and I respected her opinion. So I would bring her drafts of things and she would be that sounding board for me. And that's kind of how we co-wrote. This is what the idea generally was. What's working, what's not working, what are your notes? Her notes I'd always have so much respect for. There was never really too much friction. Was that your experience of me, Anna, or was I petulant and terrible? Did you hate me?
Hated you. Why am I even here?
I can cross that question off. I was gonna ask that later.
How was the process? Oh no, we absolutely hate each other now.
And
No,
one out
no,
of
no, no.
ten,
It
how
was really
much
nice.
hate are we working with?
I feel like it was a great and pleasant experience, and I feel like it was only the beginning of the big journey that we are yet to experience. And although we started with a tiny budget, tiny crew, everything just sort of gathered from like scratch, we still managed to pull it off. Perhaps not exactly in the way it was in Umnia's ideas, but I feel like as a starting point, we made something amazing.
Now, Anna, would you say that's Umnia's assessment is correct? Do you, with with a lot of wonderful directing teams we see, one of them is the dreamer, the other one is the realist. The dreamer has all of these amazing ideas, and the realist is the one who could say, okay, I like these. These other ones are completely impossible, but we'll work with what we can. Is that a good assessment?
I would say I'm supposed to be the realist because I was producing it, but then I've turned into the dreamer, and then Umnia is like, no, we can't pull it off. I'll make her pull it off. We will.
Yeah. That's, you know
I'll
what?
give
You're
it up.
right.
You guys kind of swap back and forth. You take turns going, absolutely not. We are not doing that, but maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Anna's faith in the entire project, not just Dopamine, but the entire visual album that it was kind of a part of, she has been able to see the vision in moments where I haven't been able to. And I think that's, again, what a really good producer can do, what a really good directing partner can do, what a really good co-writer can do, is pick up the baton when you're like, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know. I've hit a wall. I don't get what I'm doing here anymore. And then Anna will sit over literally a thingy of boba. We'll be at the boba cafe and she'll go, no, but you need to do it because, and remind me kind of what started the idea in the first place. I'm very lucky to have her.
I think we all need those kinds of friends in our life. I wonder the greater dopamine concept album, how in what, more specific ways does the character of Violet differ from you, Umnia?
Ooh, okay, now you've got me going. So in the general gist of the idea, it's about kind of in story you have thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. This is what like Craig Mazin says about story. It's about my growth as a person from being someone who believes I'm intentionally meant to be forever introverted and isolated into someone that can realize myself in public, say on a Zoom call explaining my film to an audience of people instead of hiding in my room and not having made the film at all, right? And so Violet as a character is very much the I'm meant to be alone, I'm meant to be isolated. It's because I'm this, that, and the third. I'm very dark, I'm very in my own stuff. And then there's another character called Jamie. Jamie is the angelic character on the news. Jamie is the idealist. Jamie is the we need to go out and experience the world. And she is essentially the antithesis. So the irony is that usually an antithesis is an antagonist, but Jamie is not an antagonist. She's like the idea of perfection. And actually, that is just as bad as seeing yourself as isolated. This idea of only being isolated or being the perfect version of yourself, neither can last very long. And so the synthesis, hopefully, should be me, someone who is balanced between wanting to go out and be the perfect person and go out to all the events. And I felt this December during Christmas, going to all the events and meeting all the networking and doing all the things. And then like, I'm never leaving the house. I'm introverted. I'm dark. I'm in my own thoughts. It's like there's a middle line here, and it is life. And finding that balance has been the defining lesson of my 20s. Is just, I don't have to be out all the time. I don't have to be in all the time. Revolutionary, no? Revolutionary.
So I will throw to my co-host Lily, who's got her own questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, William.
Wonderful. I love this. There was so much to unpack. But one of the things I want to ask is this, perfection side, not perfection side. Do you think women struggle with that dichotomy more than men? And if so, why?
Can I take this one? Can I please
Absolutely.
Take this
Yes,
one, please?
yes.
Okay. Yes, we 100% do. I mean, one of the Easter eggs, because I have a song on the album called Notepad. One of the Easter eggs is that scene of me writing stuff in the notepad. Mm-hmm. And that is quite literally pulled from like my id and, what I need to change about my weight and my hair and this, and none of that. Like, I wish I could say that making the music video now I'm cured. That's still there. All of that is still there. And as women, we 100%, I think we deal with it differently. And then more importantly, I think we deal with it at a more intense level. Everybody in the world is under a pressure to be a certain way, but I think there are many different ways to be a man in society, and there are very much fewer ways to be a woman in an acceptable way. And especially if you're an introverted or nerdy woman, there are even fewer ways to be that are allowed. Your Xena warrior princess or your Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and they're very kind of rigid roles. And 100%, this was a film that was trying to address, I think, the absurdity of that, the absurdity of, well, even the perfect girl is out in the cold and she's not even really allowed to dress warmly because she has to look hot. And even the monster is able to express herself a lot more than either the Umnia character or the angel character. And so there are shades to all of it. I'm really glad you picked up on that note in it. I appreciate that. And I'll throw to Anna now.
I completely agree with Umnia. And I feel like, especially with the beauty standards changing all the time, like first we follow the Hollywood standards, then we follow Korean standards, then we follow some other standards, and no one can actually keep up with all those changes. But then we're judged based on the changes that the world is going through, while all we want to do is just live a normal life, go out wearing either a turtleneck or a crop top or whatever the hell we want.
Well, and that's like going through that list. I would love to go through the notepad because like looking at it, there's just that idea of we live in this. Is there an app for that? So it was interesting where it was weight loss. I'm going to start training for a triathlon, or I'm going to start, it was, let me look into that injection, or looking at yourself in the mirror, being so young and beautiful. And like, I need to do cosmetic surgery on everything. How did you get the idea to present that information in that scene?
So we were sort of trying to combine the whole epidemic of social media and how it affected people. So that's why you can see that throughout the video, she's always with her phone. She's always distracted with it. So even when her favorite comic book comes out, what does she do? Read it? No. She posts about it. So the thing is, where there is social media and people who are not actually familiar with you, there is a lot of toxicity and hate. Sometimes even you look at all those pretty girls with pretty voices doing something great, and then TikTok comments are like, oh my god, this is so awful, or just stop. And it's like,
I got a comment 2 days ago on one of my YouTube videos, quit music, literally. Like, it's constant. It's constant.
With TikTok instead. No one asked.
Literally. Literally.
So
It,
we
it,
were
it's constant, yeah.
And we were thinking, like, we judge ourselves looking in the mirror, but why do we judge ourselves? Because of other people's opinions. So when we were thinking of that scene and post-production, amazing editor
I was
Alicia.
gonna say, big shout out to Alicia Rane.
Yeah,
Totally.
I was just thinking about how all of this doesn't come from within us, it comes from the outer world. So it's like you're looking at all those comments in the mirror and not at yourself.
It was amazing. I loved it because it was like it was heartbreaking. So I've got one more question before I throw it to our moderator SK, and that is, of all the things that we talked about, if there was someone who was watching for 10 seconds, what would you say, take this away from this piece?
I will say we have a lot more agency in how we spend our time and attention than you may think. And the comic book is right there. The comic book is right there. Your phone may be here, but the comic book is right there. And that's what I would say. What would you say, Anna?
What I resonated with personally, I think, is how much we take from the other people and how much we care about it and how it makes us live our lives literally for the people who don't even know us. So I would just say stop caring. As Umnia said, the comic book is right there. So is your life. So is everything you want. Like those people in the phone, you don't know them. Why should you prove something to them?
Oh, it was awesome.
I back
Thank
it.
you so much.
Thank you, Lili.
Anna, what have you learned about yourself through the making of this film?
This was my debut as a director. And before that, I was always very scared because I produced, I script supervised, I did most of the paperwork, logistical things, but I was always very scared to express my creativity. I've just learned that if you find the right people and the right story, you can do anything. And I feel like I really grew throughout that project. I love you, Umnia. And it's now something that I really grew passionate about, and that's why I'm gonna keep pushing for the whole film, for Diary of a Fangirl, which is the album, because it's just something that I've realized is my passion, and I should not limit myself in any way.
Umnia, what have you learned about yourself through the making of this film?
Too much, way too much. But I will say one thing I have learned prior to Dopamine, I made films by myself with my phone. And so this is the first time I'd collaborated with other people on something creative in a very long time, but definitely first time ever in an environment that wasn't a studious environment or an academic environment, working with filmmakers outside of that experience. And again, just exactly the same as Anna, I was very intimidated by that as a prospect. And by the end of Dopamine, it was not scary to me anymore. And I've been making short films ever since in a way that has felt really, really easeful and fun. And it's something I'm really passionate about. And producing doesn't scare me anymore, the same way that directing doesn't scare Anna anymore. So I've learned a lot about the filmmaking process. And then, all the realizations that come with making a film about your own insecurities. That was also quite rocky, but really, really good personal growth as well.
I'm gonna add to Umnia's answer because I remember when we just started, and Umnia, you were so not shy, but you were just, how can I go crazy in front of the camera? And then here we are with that entire scene of Violet on the stage, with Umnia just being her, like, I don't know, craziest self. And we just want to make the cut just of that performance alone. That's definitely what she learned about herself too.
Yes. Yeah, I have that in me. I have that monster in me.